Donald Trump is one step closer to getting back in the White House. On Tuesday, the former president won the New Hampshire primary in a one-on-one face-off with former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. With this win in New Hampshire and a decisive victory in Iowa last week, Trump has topped the first two contests of the 2024 election cycle.
We've won almost every single poll in the last 3 months against crooked Joe Biden, almost every poll. And she doesn't win those polls.
Haley vowed to remain in the Republican race, saying she'll now focus on the February 24 primary in South Carolina. At her election night party, Haley said the GOP race is far from over.
It's just the beginning. We got the rest of the nation. This is what we wanted. We wanted less than 10%, which we hope stays that way. And I think we've got a strong candidate.
Haley's campaign is launching a new $4 million advertising campaign in South Carolina beginning Wednesday.
2 victories for Donald Trump, and he marches on toward the Republican Party nomination. There really is no other headline coming from this primary in New Hampshire other than this one. Nikki Haley, Trump's former UN ambassador, is staying in the race and vowing to compete in the next state, South Carolina, in 1 month's time. That's a long time, though, in US politics, and there will be constant pressure from Donald Trump's supporters for her to end her campaign. That would give the former president the chance to pivot immediately toward a general election rematch with Joe Biden in November. New Hampshire was meant to be Haley's best chance to win a Republican primary, precisely because fewer Republicans vote here. Independent voters, meaning those who are not registered with either of the 2 big parties, can participate in the Republican primary. But even this large group of more moderate voters couldn't give Nikki Haley a win. She has now called on Donald Trump to debate her, but he will likely refuse. Philip Crowther, Euronews, in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Joe Biden was interrupted by pro-Palestinian protesters during his presidential campaign in Virginia on Tuesday. During the rally for reproductive rights, some carried signs calling for an end to the war in Gaza, while others carried Palestinian flags. Messages read included "Stop funding genocide" and "Genocide Joe has to go." The interruptions came a day after protesters used a similar tactic to disrupt a rally for Donald Trump in New Hampshire.
Russia's defense ministry accused Ukrainian forces of shooting down a military transport plane, killing all 74 people aboard, including 65 Ukrainian prisoners of war being swapped. Ukraine's Kharkiv region and Russia's Belgorod region have long been a focus of the fighting, especially involving airstrikes with missiles and drones.
Около 11 часов в районе аэропорта города Белгород потерпел крушение самолет Ил-76 воздушно-космических сил России. На его борту находились 65 бывших военнослужащих ВСУ, военнопленных, которых везли на обмен. Следом летел второй самолет Ил-76, на который вез еще порядка 80 человек военнопленных. Его успели развернуть. Самолет Ил-76 был сбит 3 ракетами зенитно-ракетного комплекса либо «Патриот», либо «Арис-Т» немецкого производства. Специалисты разберутся потом.
Ukrainian officials did not immediately confirm or deny Russia's claims about the crash in Russia's Belgorod border region, although they said they were looking into them.
Viera and Danilo are 2 of the 20 students of the National Aviation University in Kyiv who just started studies and flight training at the Czech Technical University in Prague. The group was divided into 2 parts for training at the Karlovy Vary and Benešov airports, where they are practicing flying with Cessna aircraft.
Once the fighting ends, Ukraine will need a rapid reconstruction of its infrastructure, of which civil air transport is an integral part. The overall budget is of 22 million crowns, and the largest part of these funds is used for practical training.
The project was made possible by the funds from the government's Ukraine Assistance Program and a grant from the U.S. Development Program.
It's very good for us because we can have our flight practice and we can also have our theory preparation for being European pilots.
Well, if the war will end till this time, I would of course like to fly in Ukraine because it's my hometown, you know. I would like to fly somewhere from Boryspil International Airport near Kyiv or something, but depends.
Yet the program is not aimed at training military pilots.
No, I'm civil aviation, yeah. I don't know anything about military, yeah.
Po prvním roce studia tady v Čechách by ukrajinští studenti měli obdržet komerční licenci. Po dalších 2 letech také licenci pro civilní letadla pro lety všude po Evropě. Jiří Skáncel, Euronews, Praha.
Germany is experiencing its longest train strike in the history of the country's main rail operator, Deutsche Bahn. Train drivers are on strike for 6 days, bringing railway traffic to a near standstill. The German Railway Drivers' Union are demanding a weekly reduction of working hours from 38 to 35 without a loss of pay. But Deutsche Bahn says it's only prepared to accept 37 hours. GDL says they are willing to compromise and proposed a deal on Tuesday.
Dieser beinhaltet genau den Tarifabschluss, den wir mit 18 anderen Eisenbahn- und Verkehrsunternehmen in Deutschland abgeschlossen haben, zu übernehmen. Bedeutet, nun liegt es an Herrn Seiler, ob weiter gestreikt wird.
Deutsche Bahn tried to prevent the strike until the last minute, warning about the catastrophic consequences for the economy.
Dieser 6-tägige GDL-Streik hat massive Auswirkungen auf die Wirtschaft. Die GDL bestreikt, wenn man so will, auch die Wirtschaft in Deutschland und in Europa. Die Ausfälle sind schon jetzt zu spüren im europäischen Güterverkehr.
The strike began on Tuesday evening for freight transport and early on Wednesday morning for long-distance and regional services operated by Deutsche Bahn. Affected travellers say they're feeling worried, angry or resigned to the situation.
Nicht gut, wir verlieren dadurch 2 Tage Hotel, wir verlieren dadurch ein Musical, also ich finde es nicht prickelnd.
Grundsätzlich bin ich Befürworter des Streiks, warum er so lange ist, darüber kann man streiten.
French President Emmanuel Macron told France's Olympic female judo squad they were expected to win as many medals as possible at the upcoming Paris Games, scheduled for this summer. Speaking to athletes at the National Training Ground in Paris on Tuesday, Macron promised he would come to watch them fight, insisting they had to win. "You don't have a choice. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity," the president told them. France will have a record delegation of about 800 Olympic and Paralympic athletes, Macron said.
We're in Lyon about to board the Tara Ocean boat. This may seem like your average sailing boat, but it's in fact a floating science lab. Since April 2023, scientists on board have been tracking the health and pollution levels in water. But for a few weeks, the boat has docked here on the banks of the Rhône River. After France, the boat will travel through Spain and Italy before arriving in Athens in July. We spoke to the boat's captain, Martin Hertaud.
Le but de la mission Tara Europa Trek, en fait, c'est de mesurer l'impact anthropique, donc des êtres humains, sur le littoral, principalement parce que le littoral, en fait, c'est un lieu de biodiversité qui est énorme. Ça n'a jamais été fait pour l'instant, c'est quelque chose qui est fait sur une échelle de l'Europe complète, donc c'est 22 pays européens.
At the heart of the Tara lies a converted boat cabin where machinery is stocked.
Le rôle du bateau Océano, c'est de collecter de la donnée. On traque à peu près 4000 produits chimiques, dont pesticides, pharmaceutiques, qui ont été listés. Et on regarde en fait si on les retrouve déjà terre, mer, et quelles sont les interactions avec les micro-organismes.
The Rhône courses through Switzerland and France. It is one of Europe's largest rivers, but also one of its most polluted, as the Tara Foundation's head of public affairs explains.
C'est un fleuve un peu particulier avec un pool de production industrielle, chimique, plasturgique très très important. Un des buts visés, évidemment, c'est d'avoir une vision globale sur notre continent de ce qui se passe et de ce que sont les priorités. Alors ça peut être des priorités globales et ça peut être également des priorités bassin par versant, bassin versant par bassin versant.
In 2023, the EU implemented regulation aimed at restoring at least 20% of the land and sea areas across Europe by 2030. But does pollution at a local level have a wider European impact?
Les molécules chimiques, elles circulent, elles circulent dans le monde. On va les retrouver dans l'eau du Rhône, on va les retrouver forcément par nature après, dans les mers, dans les océans, on va les retrouver également dans l'atmosphère. Donc il n'y a pas de frontière à la pollution, il faut bien être conscient que tout ce qui affecte la nature quelque part l'affecte globalement.
A number of solar panel companies and tender beneficiaries who started installing solar panels in Hungary with EU support have run into trouble. The projects, advertised as 100% financed, has repeatedly turned out to require co-financing, and the less capital-rich contractors who pre-financed the subsidy money have run into liquidity problems, jeopardizing the money of clients and the success of the projects. The problem is partly caused by the mismanagement and bureaucratic way the 2021 tender was handled, says an energy expert.
Látjuk a 2023-as évi költségvetési folyamatokat is, hogy sokkal nehezebb és sokkal kedvezőtlenebb pályára keveredett a magyar államháztartás, mint amit eredetileg elgondolt, és így gyakorlatilag keresett olyan irányokat, amelyekben vissza tudja fogni a kiadásokat.
In the last 2 years, the solar panel market has been at a standstill, but now it's growing at a fast pace, causing problems and rising costs for the Hungarian energy grid, driving up contractor prices and creating uncertainty in the industry.
Nem biztos, hogy az a legjobb megoldás, hogyha egyébként fontosan pályáztatással próbáljuk ezt a piacot, ugye, ahogy mondtam, színusz görbe szerint ugye szabályozni, hanem az lenne jó, hogyha teljesen piaci alapon lehetne ezt csinálni, hiszen más nyugat-európai országokban is egy teljesen élhető megtérülés ideje van ezeknek a napelemes rendszereknek.
But in Hungary, partly due to the market distorting effect caused by artificially low state-regulated energy prices for households, consumers have a different view. So while the market recovers, contractors are cautious as they have yet to receive money from previously completed projects.